All right, man. So we got a couple goals here at the factory. We got trying to improve the quantity of content, and so with the factory being kind of empty today, had Enoch do a podcast setup for us. This is something I wanted to do really a couple months ago, even when it was before you was here, when it was Bodie and Marcus. I literally was about to buy a whole bunch of podcast equipment and do basically show the warehouse side of what we do here. So normally we do podcasts with me, Rod, and Jay is normally about the marketing and bringing sales in. But I wanted to, get practice on being on camera, talking, and then show this side of what we do. Because before I came in, Jay and Rod, they more of front end of the business. And there's a lot of people like that in the world. But there's people like us, you more like me than Jay and Rod on the back end. So as much as we giving information on the front end of the company, it's people like me and you who like numbers, who like the technical side of things, how to get the orders out and all that kind of stuff. So, man, this may be episode 1 of many. So we're gonna try this out, man.
See how it works.
See how it works. So so if everybody don't know you, you talk to the audience, let them know who you are. But
Yeah, so I'm Brian Jackson. Came on with Tori as his friends since college. Been doing One Mission stuff since freshman year. So I knew he was on the great things when we first met. With just One Mission in itself, how we the lifestyle of working out, the lifestyle of being on a mission, grinding to go achieve something. Seeing life as something bigger than just getting a job and then working 9 to 5 and then calling it quits. So other than that, being able to, see it progress from there, and then came on when he had got his dope, and it was like, hey, let's run it. Let's do it.
I'm trying to remember the conversation of
how.
I know it was literally one day. I know we talked on the phone all right, come to work tomorrow, but I don't even remember I don't even remember how you came up here.
It really was because I knew you were doing what God is dope, and I was like, hey, Tor, what you got going on over there? And I know you were I ran into you at Edgewood one time, and you were at the store, and then I was like, okay, so you working with God is dope, and then I knew you were doing some fulfillment stuff like that, so I really didn't understand all the way. So I wanted to come by and just stop by and see, and then as I came and stopped by, I don't know how we ended up talking about coming back in and working at all. I really don't.
Because when you came in, I didn't know that you was. I didn't even know you was done with school. Because my mom been so far off of school. You just graduated, and I guess I would have been graduating right now with you. But my mom been off of school for a couple of years now. So I ain't know if you since I left Southern, my whole thing you. Train everybody we know is they still in school. So even when you came up here, in my head I probably thinking he just here on vacation or something. But literally in a couple of days, you start working. So with this podcast, I want to kind of talk about. I'll kind of give a little briefing on how the factory was before you came. You could kind of talk about what you saw that was wrong with the factory when you first came in, and then we'll go into where we at right now.
All right.
So for me, when I first came in to God is Dope, it was about 2019, May of 2019, and my whole goal when I first came in here was just to take a little vacation, learn how they was doing online stuff, and then plan on leaving in 30, 60 days. But with me being here, I noticed before when we was in the other factory, we used to do production, fulfillment, everything from top to bottom. And with everything being in-house, it was good for being able to drop stuff fast and having control, but it wasn't really scalable to what we're doing today. It's no way we'll have printing shirts manually, tagging shirts, anything like that on this type of scale. So me seeing the vision of how big the company could be, I started talking to Rod and making deals to do what I wanted to do. And over the last year, everybody know I worked my way up pretty fast. And over that time, I learned a lot of things because when I first came in, I'm good with numbers and everything like that, but I never did fulfillment at all. When I was doing One Mission, most of my stuff was in person. So I didn't have to think about how to get orders out to the customers. All my orders was literally right there in person transactions. So when I got here, I mean, everything for me is like breaking it down to real simple concepts. And then on scaling is taking those numbers and growing them. So when I came in, just looking at it, we probably had one person fulfilling, really. It was more of a production-based company than a fulfillment side. Like, it was heavy screen print, like I said, printing the shirts, tagging the shirts, hats. Like, when I first got here, it was probably like 12, 13 people working here. It was one person fulfilling orders and everybody on production. So when I started taking stuff over, I basically flipped it, where it was like heavy fulfillment and no production. All the production went, like, we outsourced it to people who could automatic screen print machines, or the only thing we do in-house production-wise now is making the hats.
Yeah.
So my time being here, I said when we first took over, when I first started taking stuff over, it was me, myself, and Bodie, and doing the fulfillment and hired my first couple employees, people that I know. And then we brought in a lot of high school and college students, and that worked like flawlessly up to a certain point, like really up to when they went back to school. When they went back to school, that was my first time having to hire people like that I didn't know. And so we tried Indeed, and we tried just a lot of different things to get people to come in. We had to interview people, train people. So when I first took over, it was like May. I didn't have to start actually hiring people outside of the people I knew to June, July, like September almost. So we had about a good 3-4 month stretch of like things going flawless. So that kind of boosted up, like, just basically showing that I could get the job done. But then when we had to bring new people in, that was new territory for me. So then stuff started falling behind in the midst of me learning how to hire people, learn how to train people, how to interact with different people. And then also, we didn't have inventory at the time, because like I said, we went from doing everything in-house to outsourcing it. And then we was growing a lot faster than the Backend could handle. And that's one thing I always talked about with other people when they want to start brands, is like making sure, you want to scale as fast as possible, but you want to make sure that the back end can handle it, because you can't handle it on the back end, and
So
it's going to be a mess fast. So I'd say the worst time we had was like Black Friday last year. And like I said, I mean, you didn't see none of this. It's kind of good, but it was a mess last Black Friday, just from, like I said, not having the stuff here, and then just the staff we had at the time. And I really wouldn't blame it on them. It was more about management not holding them accountable. And that started with me, from like that being my first time. I know how to hold people accountable, but I don't really I don't talk to too many people. I just kind of, hey, this is what I want to get done. And I'm used to people around me getting stuff done, but that didn't happen. So let's fast forward to like when you came on, that first weekend you was here. Like, what did you see? I know, like, the first time you came in the door, it was no staff here. It was just, we was here over the weekend, testing a few things. So I guess you talk about that first weekend you was here, and then we go into like the first week of you actually seeing the staff.
the first weekend here, it was just more so like me understanding what the fulfillment side and how everything worked. Because, I mean, I had never picked or packed an order ever in my life. So that first weekend was just like, all right, this is what picking looks like. This is what packing looks like.
I think that first weekend you shipped off some of my orders wrong.
I don't think I did, but that's just probably somebody else. But understanding, like, looking at the SKUs and knowing what the SKUs mean, because, I mean, it's a fast-paced business, so you got to know exactly, putting everything right. You got to be accurate, but then also you got to be fast as well. So just understanding how the business operates was that first weekend, trying to get my head in the game, just to get an understanding of everything. And then coming in that Monday, as you said, it was nobody in there that weekend. It's probably like 4 or 5 people. And then coming in Monday, it was around 40 to 45 people. Yep. And at first, I remember you saying, like, at first, just come in, just see see what it was like. And then you telling me to come in with the clipboard and not say anything to anybody. So I was walking in and just getting a really observation of how everything really worked in a system of how fast everybody should be, like what y'all wanted from people.
Because with that, before you keep going, like, so at that stage, it's like you came in at the perfect time, because I was already trying to step back on, like, I knew I had the system. I knew, like, I had screen printers available. I knew the numbers of how that we need to get stuff out, but I was really looking for I was prepping management from Bodie to saying I was prepping certain group of people. I knew like everything that I do, I wouldn't just put that task on one other person. Like what I was trying to do is spread that out amongst a group of people. So I had gave, I think it was like 2 main people the responsibility to do basically what you're doing on the day-to-day now of managing payroll and staff and getting stuff done, delegating, and it just like, to be honest, it wasn't happening. And part of it was maybe it was their first time in that role. Other part of it was like we didn't have inventory at the time, so they like you add having to do payroll, having to train people, and then trying to figure out what we can and can't do. They maybe was halfway set up for failure to begin with, but the other side of it was having the skills and the know-how how to lead people to getting the job done. So when I first had you come in, it was really just the staff was a mess. Like people was showing up at whatever time they wanted to show up. They was talking on their phones. It was just crazy. And I knew I didn't leave it that way, because like when I was still in and out the factory throughout the day, but I saw orders going out, so I was like, okay, stuff was fine. Because like on my day-to-day at that time, I was going to look at new factories. Like, I mean, we're in a new factory right now, but at the time we was like busting out of that factory. So I was on the literally on the daily, going to see new factories, going to meet new screen printers. So I may be here 30 minutes or an hour out of my day. I come in, I see bins and orders. Like I see the stats of orders going out, so I'm like, okay, everything might be fine. Then I actually sat in there after I meet with a screen printer, it was like weeks afterward, I actually spent the whole day in the factory, and it was like, it's a mess. And so, like I said, when you came in, I was like, man, our main thing at that point was trying to get people like to work. It wasn't necessarily like orders weren't going out going out wrong at that time. Orders actually going out, but it's like for the amount of people we got on staff, we should be getting out way more, or we should be getting out early. So like, what I want you to come in was figure out really to get them to stop talking. Like, because at that time we were shooting videos. There was a lot of things we were trying to do in that small space, and people were just talking. So I wanted you to come in literally just with a polo on, clipboard, almost like a scare tactic. It's like, who is this guy? Don't say nothing to them at all. And it was funny how it worked. It's like, literally in a day, I think after a couple of days they called on to, man, who is this guy? But yeah, that was a funny little time where it's like getting people to, like seeing how people react to certain changes.
Yeah, because I think the funniest moment was when I was walking around with the clipboard and the dude was like, "Are you HR?" And I just had to look at him, I was like, writing stuff on the clipboard, just writing anything down at that point. But I was also like trying to learn as well and understand the aspects of what was going on. So like, really that first week I was asking Bodie a lot of questions, because I mean, like you said, you were in and out, and I was trying to ask you as many questions as I could when you were there, just to see like what was in place. So like my first time was just looking at how the business was running, be like, okay, how many orders y'all get out a day? And they were like, well, these bins right here, there's an estimate of like 500 orders. I'm like, it's an estimate? Like, we don't know exactly what's going out. We don't have the system in place to see exactly, all right, this is many orders in this bin, or like, it, like you said, it was just everywhere. And then on top of that, we being in that small space, it was hectic.
Yeah, because at that time, I really had everything in my head. Like, I mean, me coming in new, not knowing how long I was going to be here, or just like how the business was going to plan out. I used to keep everything in my head. Like, I didn't know no one had got us up at all. So my whole philosophy was like to have leverage, to like keep my what's it called, like basically my intelligent property, like to myself. Like, Rod asked me a question, of course I'm answer, but like same way he got certain things that he know and kind of keep it to himself and grow the company. Is like at the time, like I wasn't all the way set into where I am in today, so it was just a lot of things were running the way it were. Like Bodie may not know a certain answer, because I literally didn't tell everybody how I was doing everything. So when you first came on, part of it was you going to college. Like, I feel like that was a good thing for me. I had to leave college. Like, it didn't make sense for me. But you going to college and finishing it all the way through, like the stuff that you do on the day-to-day now, you probably learned a lot of that in college. Like for me, it's like the way I do stuff is like quick, fast, and it's in my mind. Cause like even when I was in high school, I didn't do too much of like jot down notes. It's like everything literally in my head. But you used to a school system where it's spreadsheets and it's charts and presentations. So it was like that's a good balance between me and you. It's like I know how to work fast and come up with stuff, and I know everything that I need to do. Is just like now for you it's like presenting that and making it into a system where it could be shown to anybody and everybody. Like for me it's like I know I talk like real like to the point, so it's like I'll be feeling like, all right, if I say this how you hire people, and I tell them like this how you need to be hired, like I don't want to hire this, and this. Yeah. Hire this, and this. I'm telling them, and it's not. I'll come in, and it's literally the opposite of the people I asked to be in here. And then like you was coming in, it was like, well, people don't necessarily. You gotta put it on paper so you can hold them accountable to it. And it's like, if I tell you I want to hire
this, and I told you,
I told you
like,
so, but it's like
just do it. What I say,
done. So, but one thing I learned is like same thing with anything else. Like as you scale, certain stuff won't work. To like what got you to this point ain't gonna get you to that point. So I was never stubborn to like let you do what you do. It was just like for me, like we did around 13 mil last year, and then right to get to the goals we got now, 50 mil, 100 mil. For me to want to do one mission still while I'm running God is dope and do other things, it's like it's no way for me to run it the way I was running in the past. So that's where you come in, putting stuff on. Like you and Maisha been doing a great job at putting stuff on paper and systems, so that way I can leave and feel confident that it's getting done. Because like for me, I was already confident. It was like for me, my mom says like if I tell somebody something, they say they understand it, they should know to do it. But then that extra step is like I told them, they understand it, and here it go on paper. They sign off for it, or like they understand. Like not only did I tell you so you understand it, it's right here on paper too. So then if you don't do it, then I have no no reason not to let you go. Yeah, so
that's what I think. The biggest thing, the biggest change I've seen is like now it's starting to be on paper. It's like you've always had everything we pretty much learned in school is what you've already been doing. Right. So it's like it's not that you didn't know it. You know everything you're talking about. All we're doing is just put it on paper. That's it. And like you already had it in your head. That's a crazy part. It's like you didn't even need school to even get the information you got, because everything you already said was like, we need to do sign-offs. And I was like, at the moment, I'm saying we need to do sign-offs. I'm trying to write the sign-off sheet, and you was just like, we need to do sign-offs. And I was like, dang.
And that's the thing is like people may like, you come in and see how we did stuff over the last year. It may be like, like I know you used to say it all the time, and it was like at the moment I get frustrated because you like, man, it got to be structured, it got to be organized. We need systems. I'm like, bro, I got all the systems. Like it's been put together from day one, but. Like, what I was getting frustrated with you saying we need systems. You probably getting frustrated with me the same way. It was like, well, it ain't on paper. And that's like probably the same thing where staff didn't execute on certain stuff, because it's like for me, I get it. Like, I understand stuff, and there's other people like me around who, like, they just get it. You don't have to show me nothing. So, like, you tell me, all right, this amount of orders supposed to go out. I know I do math. It's like, okay, that makes sense. Yeah. But some people literally have to see it happen. So that's it. That's the good thing you coming in to put everything like visually, because like even though I know that, I'm still not going like even today if I have ideas, like I'm gonna say it. That's I'm just expect you and Maisha.
I'm like, look, I'm gonna just write it down and make sure we know exactly what needs to be done, because that's what I think the people in the past or so or whatever it might have been, is like they'll get those instructions and then they might have forget or something like that. For me, in order for me to really remember, I'm gonna have to write it down. Like I'm gonna have to see it every single day as much as I can to be like, okay, I know what I got to do at the end of the day, because I wrote it down. It's like everything's right there on the list, because this is a fast-paced business, as you said. It's like,
sure.
It's so much stuff that goes on to where if you don't, for me, it's like if I don't write it down, it's not gonna get it's like it might get done, but it's gonna be almost forgotten or something like that. So to eliminate that from even happening, I make sure I have it down somewhere.
Yeah, so. I wonder how many people, like probably majority of the staff and just people in general probably think more like you, where it's like they gotta see it. For me, it's like
I have it in my head.
I just literally got it, and it's like I'm not going. Like for me, if I did what y'all do, like if I had to write stuff down, like I'll be less productive. Like so, it may seem like I'm all over the place, but I literally would like. We wouldn't accomplish as much as we do if Victoria had to sit there and write stuff down or come up put it on paper. Like I would, that stuff tired me out. So it's it's better for me to say an idea, give it to you and Maisha, and it's like then it get put out on paper.
Yeah.
Or like same thing with like the we did yesterday with the chef, the suggestion box. There's a lot of stuff we've been implementing where it's like the faster I could just like think and like move, and then y'all like put out the system is like it's gonna be the way we could scale faster. If I gotta come in and like
Write it down.
right,
yeah.
it just is it's gonna take too long.
I think the biggest thing is like everybody knowing they role and everybody just sticking to it. Like being good at what you know you're good at. And then
Right.
for me, it's like I know I'm good at like keeping everything organized. My mom told me that the crazy part is like she keeps everything organized. She's more organized than me. So like I'm trying to like for my best for me to be my best. So like I make sure everything in here has to be organized. And that's what we like even in a small warehouse. I was like coming down here. I was like okay, we got to be 10 times more organized because we're not in a small. We're in a bigger space and we have more room for like mess ups and more room for all that stuff. Like anything to go missing, just like inventory, anything like that. So it's like I got to be at my best and be as organized as I can because if you don't, you setting yourself up for failure. Like, and so like that's what you pretty much try to be my best to get everything organized and clean and structured.
Oh well, yeah, man. So I guess like talk about real quick, and we're gonna wrap it up because like we could everything we talking about we could make it in its own episode and go into detail about it. But I guess we just like to wrap everything up. Like just talk about real quick on the biggest change that you've seen from this factory to from the old factory to this factory, and then like I said we'll be doing this on the regular. So
The biggest change I've seen so far, the work ethic of the people from the production base to hourly is one of the biggest reasons why, and then also like how we changed up who we hire, how we hire, and make sure we get the quality people in here, and make sure everybody in here is doing the work that they say they can do. So, I mean, I think it's getting a lot more like, I wouldn't say structured, but like we headed in a good direction, I guess you could say. So, just getting everything in order, pretty much. So,
okay. Yeah. Last thing for you is like I said, a lot of people who watch these podcasts, they entrepreneurs, they got their own businesses, and they definitely follow us for like T-shirt specifically for most of our audience. So I know you just talked about organization and hiring, but like if you had to give like them one piece of information like on the fulfillment side, what would that be to like help them grow their company?
Help them grow.
Or even if you want to like just expand a little bit what you just said, the organization, like get them an example of how stuff was before and like what they need to do to make sure they stuff organized or make sure they hiring the right people. Or I mean, you just be one of them because we could talk about the others in another episode.
I'll say write it down. That's the biggest thing. Make sure you have it. Not saying like it's because like Tori, you just said make sure some people will work like that, but if you can't work like that. If you need something, just say, hey, I need this written down so I can understand exactly fully what I need to do. So have everything clear and precise as you can. Because if it's not clear and precise, you're gonna have your guesses, and more guesses just makes it more room for mess ups or too much risk. So just be precise and clear as you can.
All right. And for me, I would say to piggyback on that same thing, like if like for the way I work is fast, not writing stuff down. It'll get you to a certain point, certain level. And if you know you're more like me, you need to find you a Brian, somebody who will write stuff down, organize, so that way you could share that vision, that message to the rest of your staff, or just something you could hold for the company at scale, and vice versa. If you're more like Brian, went to school, you got the technical side of things, like you know how to write everything down. But you need someone to push you to move a lot faster because, like, Brian, like, over the last 4 years, you've been in school, which was helpful for you, but, like, I've been doing this.
Yeah,
like,
this is fast pace.
Like, I've been running it up on, like, all levels, personally, business-wise. So if you're more like Brian and you,
I've been running it up.
Hey,
Tell about that.
I ain't saying you ain't got it, but I'm just saying, like, we could take bank.
Hey, I got a little.
Nah, man, you on your way. But so it's a team thing. It's like, but if you more like Brian, you gotta find you somebody like myself who that more like just on go person, like who could paint the vision. Like I said, Brian, he knew about One Mission 4 or 5 years ago, and it's like it's coming back full circle now where he just here. But it's like in that time, like for most people, it was the other way around. He may not have did one mission while he was in college and stuff while he was doing that, but for me, it's like no matter if he was around or not, it's like I kept going. And there's a lot of people who won't do that if they don't have a team, if they don't have people around. It's like then they start moving stagnant. So if you're more like that type of person where it's like it's hard for you to work by yourself, it's like you need to find somebody who literally, like, they don't go without you. It's like they was gonna do their thing regardless, and then you come in to their vision, or they can help you with your vision to literally blow that up to a whole nother level. So that's one thing I'll say for y'all is like if y'all have your own business, make sure you keep playing to your strengths, and you find people who your weaknesses are their strengths, because it'll help you grow a lot faster. That's for everything that we do. But
that's what a good thing is, like, be strong at what you're strong at.
Right.
And just constantly building on that, and then things that you're not strong at, either you work on it or you just like, hey, I need to bring somebody on who can do it for you.
Bring somebody on. Get better at what you do, because like even for what I do, like I'm great at what I do, but I can get even better. And like as a owner, CEO, whatever, management, like you want to have multiple tasks. But what I'm learning, and it's at different stages. Like right now, I got a big enough team where I could literally just go in my lane 100%. Yeah. But before this, I had to play the roles of different things. But at a certain point, you'll know when you're at that point. But I recommend everybody when you get to a certain level is literally just only focus on what you're good at. Yeah. And that's gonna be the opposite of what a lot of people tell you. A lot of people will tell you like work on your strengths and your weaknesses, but you need to do that to a certain extent. But when you get to this point, you just need to go full 100% at what you do best. But and let's wrap this up. Like, this is gonna be posted on the God is Dope channel. We might throw this on One Mission too. We'll see.
Throw this on One Mission.
Like I said, God is Dope subscribers. If there's something you'd like to see more often, let us know. Comment, subscribe, like, and definitely comment if you want to see more of this on the factory side of things. I know normally y'all hear about myself, Jay, and Rod will talk about the marketing, new designs, different things like that. If you want to see the behind the scenes on how we actually get the orders out to the customers and talk about how we do that, let us know. If you don't want to see it, we're going to give it to y'all. We're going to keep practicing. We're going to talk in front of this camera. But if there's something you want to see on a weekly basis, how we do with the front end of the business, just let us know, and we'll make it happen.
I want to see that.
We out.